Members of an African tribe are displaying a sacred object they believe to be the Ark of the Covenant in a Harare museum. The item is a ngoma, a sacred drum made of wood. According to the oral tradition, a ngoma was carried from Israel by the Lemba, a South African tribe who believed they are descendants of Jews from the Middle East. After it burst into flame and was destroyed, another ngoma, the one currently on display, was constructed from the ruins.
We are not lost. We are scattered. We are original Hebrew.
The Lemba are not the only ones. Africa has many tribes that claim to share a heritage with the Jews of Israel. You will find them in Morocco, Ethiopia, Congo, Zimbabwe, and even West Africa, but with the diverse origins in various periods of history. The full story of Jewish presence in Africa is hard to verify. The Lemba people of Zimbabwe are one in a small list of accepted African Jews. A community numbering about 80,000, the Lemba has historically practiced a variant in the Jews' religion.
Okay. They've done some blood samples on the Lemba people. What did the result reveal? Okay. This is very, very significant.
What makes the Lemba people so special as an African tribe is that, due to international attention, their genetics have been studied extensively. The result seemed to validate the Lemba myth of their origins, which is quite remarkable, considering that the Lemba have an intercontinental origin story. According to Lemba myths of origin, their ancestors came from Judea in ancient times. Before arriving in Africa, they stopped over at Sena, which is in Yemen. The third party of the Lembas into Africa movement took them from Arabia to Ethiopia, where they had even lengthier stopover.
Asked us, who are you?
Bo, I was born a Jew of the Lemba tribe.
We had, it was called Chisi, like the day of rest. People would rest from all the work, but not knowing like why we are resting. Then we realized, no, we've been keeping Shabbat.
Unless we have slaughtered it ourselves, we do not eat.
And pork, would you eat pork?
No, impossible.
Eventually, the Lemba community in Ethiopia split up. One group moved south along the Indian Ocean coast, establishing the present-day Lemba community, which lives in Zimbabwe. In this whole adventure, so the Lemba believes their ancestors had been in search of African gold. It is no wonder, therefore, that they live not too far from King Solomon mines in Zimbabwe.
This is an interesting question because when I look at scripturally, there's a time whereby there was a northern and a southern kingdom, and by that time the northern kingdom started having problems, and by that time the tribe of Levi went and joined again the southern kingdom.
Right.
Then after some time the southern kingdom went into an exile. Then when they returned, this is where it gets interesting because that's when it touched the story of the Lemba people.
Okay.
So when you're reading probably the book of Nehemiah and Ezra, it's clear, especially from Ezra chapter 10, the story of the Lemba.
The Lemba people were lucky to encounter a soft European into their lands. Their claims of Jewish descent were taken seriously enough for the studies to commence. Today, the reason why the Lemba people stand out so much from the rest is that there is genetic data to verify these claims. For example, the Lemba people bear genetic similarities with the people who occupy present-day Sena in Yemen. Moreover, genetic links occur only on the male line. They corresponds with the historical account of the Lemba as smiths and miners who came to Africa to prospect for the gold.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the Lemba. Can you please share with the people about the Lemba?
So the Lemba are an African tribes with Jewish roots. We migrated from Judea 2,500 years ago and went and settled in Yemen. and stayed there until around the 7th century. And then we were pushed out by Islam because we wouldn't convert to Islam. And then we were forced into Africa, where we have been coming all along when we were in Yemen.
Even though the Lemba are classified as Bantu people, 50% have been found to have Semitic roots. And even though this does not qualify them as Jews, it gives the Lemba an undeniably Arabic or Jewish ancestry. Looking at it today, you wouldn't think much of the Lemba Ark of the Covenant or Ngoma Lungundu. It is much smaller and simpler compared to the images of the Ark of the Covenant from the Bible. However, tests have confirmed that the wood from the Ngoma Lungundu is much more than 700 years old. The Lemba have said that they rebuilt the ark from the remains of an older version after the old exploded 700 years ago. Meaning the drum that thunders in Lemba, the Ngoma Lungundu, is intricately weaved into Lemba mythology. However, the Lemba Ark does not carry the strict religious functionality of the biblical Ark of the Covenant. Professor Parfit, the real-life Indiana Jones who discovered Ngoma Lungundu, described a curious feature of the Lemba Ark. The bottom of this idolized artifact has been burned black by fire powder, suggesting that it might have been used as a cannon. Interestingly, the Lemba are not only African claimant to the Ark of the Covenant. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tawahedo Church claims to hold the actual Ark. They just won't show it to anyone. There is a discovery of unexpected Agikuyu claim over the Ark. They just won't show it to anyone. History tells us that the Agikuyu used to call the mount Kirimara, which is today interpreted to mean the mount with snow. But what if the word Mara was miscommunicated or misunderstood? What if the actual word meant was Amhara? The Amhara are a historical dominant group in the coalition of tribes that make up present-day Ethiopia. In the mid-19th century, the influence of the Ethiopian Empire stretched through the Kenyan islands. Agikuyu isolation, as is popularly touted in history books, only started after the fall of Ethiopia. The retreating Ethiopia's forces could easily have left behind a small force of Amhara warriors to look after the Ark hastily buried in Mount Kenya. Pending archaeological study, however, the Agikuyu account of their involvement with the Ark will remain as just that of a story.
Wooden part, wood. Oh. They make cover the skin or the leather with the wood. You see, here is the wood.
The Lemba people and their eclectic stories were once ridiculed by the scholarly community for being ridiculous. That is, until a rigorous academic study revealed the truth behind these stories. Many African tribes are like that today. Our folk stories were dismissed during the colonization period as a matter of course. However, since gaining independence, we have now a great opportunity to go back to celebrate our heritage. The Lemba, because they have historically received a lot more scholarly attention, have had their myths verified. As we extend the same courtesy to the other African tribes, we can expect to see the same situation replayed over and over and over again.